What's up, everyone? Vince Ingenito here. I'm the guy that got to review Evolve for IGN, and I'm sitting here with my friends Mitch,
me,
James,
hello,
and Alex.
Hi.
And now we're gonna jump into some of the finer points of what we think makes Evolve so wonderful. But before that, let's take a look at the review. It's really rare for a big multiplayer AAA release like Evolve to feel so considered and intelligent. Everything, every skill, every mechanic, every design choice seems to interlock in a way that's both natural and purposeful. That it's so mechanically rich and still conveys the raw energy and fun of duking it out with huge monsters and action figure-esque hunters is a real design feat. Its progression system stifles it a bit early on, but regardless, Evolve is a deeply rewarding multiplayer experience that packs both brains and brawn. Alright, so let's talk about, in overall, did Evolve achieve what it set out to do? It had kind of a lofty goal of being this asymmetric 4v1 monster hunting multiplayer experience that they wanted to claim was unlike anything else before. Did it end up being kind of scaled back and kind of a lesser version of that vision, or do you think they fully achieved it?
I think they did a really good job of accomplishing what they set out to do, especially in the long dark shadow of Left 4 Dead. They had this, this is the Left 4 Dead studio. They have huge goals. They have this legacy to live up to. They're so good at doing a specific thing. Can they do it in something that's very, very different when 4v1? And I thought they nailed that part of it really, really well. We'll get to some more problems that I think Evolve has, but in terms of making the satisfying adventure of 4v1, I think they absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, I don't think this is anything. I can't think of another multiplayer experience that I've had that's quite like this, where from the start I kind of feel enveloped in this different kind of conflict. I'm not thinking about sheer aggression. I'm thinking about surviving the wilderness, and I'm thinking about how to effectively track my quarry. Like, I really had to get into that mindset of a hunter to play the game, whereas I kind of expected it initially to just be, hey, this is like any other multiplayer shooter, except the other guy's just bigger than me, and I have to work with my buddies.
Except he's a big space gorilla.
Right, exactly. He's just this big space gorilla that I have to shoot more than I would normally have had to shoot, but it turned out to be anything but that. I know that your initial impressions when you first played it were a lot simpler than they wound up being.
That's true, that's true. I mean, I guess when I initially saw the game, it was kind of pitched as this like badass 80s creature feature, the game. And I really do think that they ended up accomplishing that, and I definitely get that feeling of like, we're going in there to kick some butt. And then the tide shifts, and now the hunter becomes the hunted is the cliche phrase, but it rings true and Evolve. That being said, when I did first play it, in the first few hours, the first thing I did was come to you and I said, Vince, kind of discreetly, I was like, I think this is a $20 game, It's basic, it's repetitive, but I think the reason why that is because, to its detriment, it hides a lot of its intricacies very well. The starting gameplay is like, you come down, you follow this weird dog, beast, alien thing, and you just have this very myopic view of this dog, and then you find the monster, you throw it down the arena, you shoot, you reload, you shoot again, it runs away, rinse, repeat. But there's so much more to it than that. And maybe we'll jump into this later, but I think Maggie is kind of specifically Daisy the dog, is kind of the crux of that issue.
Absolutely, and we'll certainly get into that, but you're right, the sentiments you're sharing have been echoed by so many people that I've spoken to in the office and just on the internet in general, is that the game initially strikes them as very straightforward. And it's not until you delve a little deeper and learn some of the nuances and honestly play against smart people who know how to mix things up and know how to play their respective roles that you start to see a little bit more of that. Yeah. What about you, Alex? Do you think you've played something like Evolve before, or did it feel like a totally singular?
No, when I first saw it, I thought, okay, this is multiplayer boss fight. This is, the tank mode a tank fight from Left 4 Dead, broken out, expanded, a couple of different tanks. But like you said, there is so much actual hunting to it. And not just as being a hunter, but being the quarry, being the monster at first. I love the sneaking around, the silently killing, and they're constantly on your back. That pressure to get to level 2 so you can actually take them on. It's so cool.
Being the monster is totally tense. I didn't think it was going to be at first. I thought, oh, it's just this totally linear way of playing. I'm the big, powerful guy, and I just run a train through, I
automatically win.
I just automatically win. I just, just beat on these guys endlessly, and they just struggle to do anything about it unless they play perfectly. But the first time I played Monster, I was so nervous. I was actually at 2K the first time I played as the Monster, and they were like, hey, want to play the Monster against us? And I was like, no,
not in front of everyone here.
Not in front of exactly. I was terrified. Yeah. And the Monster actually has, and I note this in my review, the Monster overpowering the hunters is the monster's reward for outsmarting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's you have to be
Yes.
smarter than them. You have to use all these non-combat tactics like sneaking around, sniffing, knowing what's in your area, understanding the maps, knowing where a good farm is. You're going to get that good farm. You have to understand all those things and what skill points to put in what skills at different stages. Like with Wraith, who can be a total terror. I feel like early on I always put all 3 points into decoy because I just want to be safe. I just want to know that if I get caught at level 1, I'll be able to just sneak around and evade them. Decoy becomes less and less useful for actual combat later on in the match, but to start, I always wanted to do that. But just having to make those decisions with the monster, think about my skill distribution for different phases of the match, and having to constantly walk this tightrope of I need to hurry up and get to my next meal, but I also need to do it in a way that's discreet so that I don't like invite the wrath of the hunters on me when I'm not ready to deal with it. So that's what we thought overall of the concept of Evolve and how well it executed on it. What are your thoughts? Did Evolve live up to its potential? Did it fully execute on its kind of lofty idea of what it wanted to be? Sound off in the comments below, and for more on Evolve, stay right here on IGN.